The views and opinions expressed by John and DJ do not reflect those of any intelligent or rational human being and are solely the property of the Brightside Chat.
This show is a proud member of the Nerdy Legion Podcast Network. Get more at nerdylegion.com. Enjoy the show.
Hey, welcome back to the Bright Side and issue number 140. And what's the name of this one, John?
Beyond the Breach? I guess. We never discussed it.
We didn't discuss it.
Yeah.
No, I know, but we both really liked it.
Yes, and it's the only book I read.
It's the only one you read. So there wasn't much of an argument. Right. I did throw in a couple of more books. We're going to leave that up to you to get. You got to wait to hear it or just check out the show notes. It'll be right there too.
Right.
But we kind of, well, first off, you get to hear us. We're already in the store and we're talking because we had a little snafu with the recording. So you miss out on the early conversation that we had about John in Mexico. You said something about a donkey. I don't know, whatever, but it didn't get recorded. So when we get into the store, you were just walking right into our mid-conversation, just like if you walked into the store. Maybe that's our new open, John. I don't know. We're working on the fly here. Things are happening. We're making it work. Lots of Loki talk, lots of Black Widow talk. We kind of fly through the show, right?
Yeah.
And then when we get into Kryptonite, quite a bit. Lots to break down. Lots of fun. We don't really break down a lot, but we just have a lot of fun with it. Same with Black Widow. Spoilers early in the show, Kryptonite in the middle, lots of Kryptonite at the end, lots of books in the middle. Is that a good way to sum it up?
That is our formula, yes.
Okay. John, do you have anything to say during the open?
No. Press play.
It's go push play. It's wrong podcast. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's get into the store, John.
Okay. Low 60s, high 50s at night. So beautiful, for July. I thought it would be, I thought Mexico City or Mexico would be a lot warmer than even we are here, but it's not,
really?
At least not. Mexico City is more inland. So, you go to someplace like Cancun or someplace like that, and it's probably warmer, but yeah, the weather was beautiful, very temperate all week. So, couldn't ask for more when it comes to that. So,
that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a disaster.
Yeah.
You couldn't have been away at a better time. I told you a little bit about it before we got on, but we are delayed in even starting this because I've had to rebuild the entire podcast because my computer crapped out while you were gone.
So I would have been off anyway. So
exactly. Well, no, because that's the thing is it was great that it was a blessing in disguise that we were off, because had you not been off, or I would have been I would have just crammed everything in and had to rebuild by Tuesday night. And I wasn't there even last week, but it's what we've just gone through just to get going here. And just to let you know, people don't, this is going to be one of those podcasts where people get to come into the store and hear us in the middle of a conversation, because we completely missed the beginning of everything we just were talking about with you in Mexico, but we got a little bit of it. So.
Oh, did we? Okay.
Yeah, we'll address that in the open when we do the open. But I was like, I was gonna stop you and go, something went wrong, we're not recording, but I was like, forget it, just roll with it. It's fun. Because we've got so much to get to tonight.
Yeah,
you were gone for Black Widow, you were gone for Loki, the last two of Loki. I don't know how much we're gonna be able to. We're probably going to talk about it for a couple weeks now, but let's get to Loki first.
Well, I got
spoiler free. What do you got?
I've also got granddaughter news.
Oh, here we go.
So.
Back. All right. Jeez. Yeah. I didn't see that on Facebook. Nobody told me. I apologize.
It's not, the news is very slow to come, even to me. Like, I don't even have a picture.
Did you just find out? Yeah, I know.
No, I mean, I've known since Sunday, but I don't have any pictures. I literally just found out, like, what time she was born and how big she was like 5 minutes ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the details are not forthcoming. But
is that one of the things you got while I was fiddling around with the computer? I saw you looking at your phone and you were.
Well, I was trying to get some of the info and get a picture, which I still don't have.
Okay.
So I don't have that for the show, but yes, granddaughter, grandbaby number 9, born on Sunday. So we got back Saturday night around midnight. Woke up Sunday and found out that she had gone into labor. So I guess she held her legs together the whole time we were gone. And then
perfect.
As soon as we got back,
good for you guys,
unclenched her ankles and just let that baby come out. So yeah. So Marceline was born at 4:51 on Sunday. So
awesome. Marceline.
Yep.
Nice.
Marceline. Yes. So
family name?
I don't know.
Not your family, but
not my family name. I don't know.
Well, actually,
I think
that could
it's
be
just
Italian. No,
it could be.
Yeah, definitely not Irish.
But I think it's just no. It's not Irish or Scottish. That's for sure. It could be Italian, but no. Yeah, I don't know if it comes from. I don't know if it comes from her side or not, but it's definitely not from Lydia's side or obviously not my side. So
yeah.
But yeah. So I wanted to. Get that out there. At least I can say it. I can't show it, but
yeah. Christmas
for the majority of our listeners, it's audio anyways. The 17 people that watch will just
we're up to 20 now, John.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
On YouTube.
See what happens when you're gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know, and that's the thing is that's the other thing. I don't want to say I got a new job, but I've added a dealership to my job, and it's a pretty big dealership. It's going to keep me very busy. But the sad thing is I was so excited to get it, and I'm like, ooh, great, because things aren't going well right now in the auto business, as a lot of people know. So I'm trying to diversify my my dealership portfolio, if you will. And so I picked up this dealership, and then I was like, oh no. I was so excited in the negotiations. I was so excited with being able to get there. And I'm like, I could give you Tuesdays. And I was like, they're like, we're going to have a ton of work and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, that's the day we record. Oh. And I was like, oh no, what if they get me so busy I don't get home in time to do all the show notes and put everything together and blah, blah, blah. And then I actually said to Jen at one point, I'm like, I might not be able to podcast anymore. We've already bounced this thing around enough. And then I was like, wait a minute. I don't have to do the show notes. I'm like, so I get home late and we just jump on and do it. So what if we don't have images? That's okay. I'll just like, all right. So I'll still put the YouTube video out. It just won't have all the fancy images.
Right.
So, but not this week. I got home in time. I put everything together and
good deal.
Still behind, but
yeah.
But anyways, so yeah, it's been like I said, we haven't even gotten to the show proper yet, John.
No, we haven't.
And it's a big, and we lost.
And we got a lot to go through because honestly, I could go on some wild tangents about Mexico, but I'm just going to let it go.
Yeah, you and I are going to have a private conversation.
We don't really have time, but but
like
I will say just as a PSA, real quick, for anybody that's thinking of going there. Do not rent your own vehicle.
Oh, really?
It is not worth the trouble. It is the absolute worst driving I have ever seen in my entire life. And I've driven in Boston. I've driven, I've driven in Houston. It is, and I didn't even drive. Lydia drove because I didn't drive a lick. Like, I didn't even get behind the wheel. She did.
Right,
She learned how to drive in Mexico. Not that she's done it in a long time, but, has some experience with that and obviously can read all the road signs and all that stuff. Yeah. But it is something to behold, man. I'll tell you. It is the most aggressive driving I have ever seen in my entire life. Like, I thought I was going to die about 90 times. So take a taxi. Get on a bus. Don't rent a car.
Oh man,
that's my PSA for visiting Mexico City. So.
All right.
Other than that, we'll move on, and I'm sure things will come
there'll be more
over the next few weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure,
we'll have to have a conversation on our own too.
Yeah.
I want to hear. I mean, not like my buddy that called me once from Mexico and he told me to go to a barn and pay $0.25. But Okay.
Oh.
Anyways.
For a donkey show or what? What were we doing? Yeah. Okay.
That was a full-fledged horse, but yes.
Yeah.
Same story. Yep.
Yep.
All right. But anywho, Loki.
Yeah.
So spoiler free, we'll do Loki. We'll do Kryptonite at the end a little bit and see what we can come up with. But what did you think? Spoiler free. Did it bump up in the rankings at all for you?
Well, I mean, it absolutely changes the entire face of the MCU. So
thank you.
I mean,
okay,
I have to give it that, like,
well, yeah, it's kind of a big one.
It completely unlocks like everything. Like if you want Spider-Man and his amazing friends to be canon, it is. If you want, the old Roger Corman Fantastic Four movie to be canon, it is. It did basically what Crisis did for DC.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
over there on the WB.
I think in a bigger way, though. No,
well, in a bit bigger way, but the implications are kind of the same.
Yes.
So yeah, without getting into too many details, and again, obviously, anybody that cares has I'm sure seen it by now. I was late to it because I didn't get to watch it until Sunday, and the little bit of time I was on Facebook and things, I really had to stay away from spoilers, and I wasn't 100% successful, but I was still able to enjoy most of it. But yeah, I don't know where it ranks still in. It's probably better than Falcon Winter Soldier now at this point. I think I said that last week though. But I don't know. I just still kind of have a soft spot for WandaVision, and just on pure entertainment value, I think it's still my favorite. But Loki is definitely the most important show they've done so far. When it comes to the MCU and setting up Phase 4 and everything else. So,
I have one for you in Kryptonite that I think it'll be fun to talk about, to be honest with you. And it has to do with my rankings of it and everything you just said, to be honest with you. It has to do with that. So we'll definitely hit that. But I basically, at the end of the episode, at the end of the series, I was like, Marvel just went nuclear. They just flipped everything upside down, just like you said. And it makes everything so dynamic. Anything they want to do, they can do. And much like you said, like I thought of the same thing when Crisis did it in the CW. And for people that aren't familiar with that, they actually the big moment in that one was when you had the two Flashes see each other.
Right.
And that was where you were like, wow, the TV crossing over with the movies, the DCEU and all that. So
well, and again, now if you want to recast Tony Stark, you do it, right? And it doesn't mess with anything that's come before. Whereas, again, we've had a million Batman movies and they just kind of pretend like the previous incarnation didn't exist.
Right.
But in this case, they could all coexist. Like, this is just this Earth's version of Tony Stark or what have you. You can do whatever you want. So, it's going to be, it's interesting to see what they're going to do and what their big plans are.
They can do anything they want.
Yeah, that's the thing. They can do anything.
We'll get more into that in a little bit. And all right, topic number 2, Black Widow. What'd you think?
Spoiler
free. Did you?
I liked it. Yeah, I did.
Good.
I did. I mean, it's definitely not. I don't even think it's in top 10.
No.
Of the Marvel movies, but it was fun. Yep. I think it suffered a bit from just the delays, and I felt myself. Well, we kind of talked about it last show, and we didn't even really bring it up. It's like it just wasn't. I wasn't super on the edge of my seat, dying to go see it. I mean, I was always going to go,
right?
But it wasn't like I was just chomping at the bit to see it. And I think part of that was and you would think the delays would actually do the opposite.
Enhance it a little bit.
Right. But it just kind of didn't. But it was super fun. I really loved Yelena. I think she's great. I think she's going to be great going forward. The comedy that she brought to the movie was great. I was a little underwhelmed with Red Guardian. I wanted a little bit more out of him, but I mean, again, he was just there as the comic relief, and it was great. He's always fun to watch.
Yeah.
But I was hoping for a little bit more from him, but other than that, I think it did a pretty good job with some twists and turns. There was a little bit of intrigue and super fun, great action. Good humor. Again, it also
Marvel
suffers
movie.
a little bit. Well, it suffered a little bit from the fact that you know her ending, right? So it's always one of those things where it's a little bittersweet to be watching it because
we can talk about that in Kryptonite as well.
Yeah, you kind of know what happens to her. Really dug the post-credit scene, which we'll get into in Kryptonite, because now I have a which came first, the chicken or the egg thing. Based on
do
that.
you? Okay.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that too. But overall, it was a lot of fun. So I think it was mid-level Marvel movie, but it was good.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same way. I thought it's so hard nowadays to put them, like, where do you drop it in? And I didn't look at my list and
I know.
See where.
Well, and you got 30 movies to mess with.
Yeah, we're
and
up
now
to, we're almost. And
now TV shows too. So I almost just the ranking sort of goes out the window at this point.
Yeah, if you start to look at it, you'll be like, well, did I like it better than this one? Did I like it better than that one? It's like,
is it like 7.5? Is it 7.75?
Yeah,
like,
I think I said in my home theater one, I liked Captain Marvel a little bit better.
Yeah,
but now that I'm thinking of it, it's like I love Scarlett Johansson,
it's like,
and I'm like, And my husky, I mentioned this one in my home theater one. It's like the white costume that she wears in this movie, in her red hair. She looks like my husky, who's named Natasha Romanoff. We call her Romy. Right. So I'm like, I came up from watching it downstairs in the theater, and I walked and she's standing at the door to greet me. I was like, and it hit me. I was like, you look just like her. It's like,
so did you?
Funny.
Watch it twice, or did you not go to the theater? Okay, so you came home and bought it.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So you liked it that much.
Oh yeah.
That you want to own it almost as many times as Bloodshot because you want to go see it in the theater.
Well, yeah.
Then you want to own it digitally, and then you're going to download it onto your Zapiti, and then you're going to do, then you're going to buy the 4K disc.
Oh yeah. You betcha.
All right.
Yep.
See, I didn't like it that much.
I love movies, John, and it's like I liked it better than Bloodshot, and I love. I love Bloodshot, and
you bought that 17 times. So.
Yeah, but part of it is for the podcasts too.
Right.
I love to compare them to the podcast, and it is research.
It's research.
Yeah, and it's fun. Honestly, I'm getting close to. And I hate to say this, you and I have had this conversation, and I was always the one that was like, no, and you and I went
streaming is getting to be there.
Well, here's the thing. 4K discs right now are better. There's no doubt about it, right? But going to the theater and then watching it streaming, it's better in my home. Yeah. The actual environment is better in my home. The home theater, the sound, the picture, everything is better. And that's even with streaming. And then when you go to disc, it's even better. But that's what was fun about Bloodshot is everything came out so close together. I had to do it all. That'd be like if Black Widow came out next week on disc and be able to compare all of them would be really cool. But that's not possible. So, oh well. But yeah, I did. I really enjoyed it. And it's like, I just love to just go into that room and sit down and watch and just flip around. So I love watching these movies. So, all right. Anything, we're going to get a little bit more into that in a second when we get to some breaking news, but do you have anything else before we get to the breaking news?
No, not really.
Okay. Well, let's get to the breaking news then.
Well, we'll stick with the Disney Plus. Looks like we have our premiere date for What If. The final trailer dropped last week and a half ago now. I don't know. I'm losing track of time.
I haven't seen one yet.
But it had the premiere date buried in the trailer. So August 11th, we get What If on Disney Plus. Yeah, and I'm not a trailer guy specifically, but this is a great trailer. Like, you should seek it out and watch it because this show looks awesome. I can't wait for it. Actually, it's one of the videos that it's on the loop in my store. So now I've seen it like more times than I need to. But yeah, it really looks good. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. That drops on Wednesdays, right?
Yes, it should be Wednesday. I didn't look up 8/11, but they said they're going with Wednesdays.
I'll tell you right
going
now.
forward. So
Wednesday the 11th.
Sweet.
Looking at it right now. So
yeah.
Cool. All right. Looking forward to that. What else we got? Next up.
All right. Next up. So Trevor, Macy, and Mike Flanagan, who are the writers and producers behind Dr. Sleep, among other things, are tackling Something is Killing the Children for Netflix. So we had kind of heard rumors that this had been optioned. It was kind of bouncing around. And so now we have a little bit more concrete news with where it's going to be and who's going to be involved. So, I liked Dr. Sleep. I don't know what else they've done, but
I love Dr. Sleep.
But that movie I thought was great. So, it's horror, so it should translate well into Something is Killing the Children. So should be really good.
Cool.
Watch your books continue to rise in value.
Can they go up higher?
I don't know if they can go any higher, honestly. Like, they're already worth like $1 bajillion.
But it was funny when I saw this news. Like last week, I think we heard it or whatever, and I was like, where are the books going to go now? They've been out of this world already. So, all right. Next up.
All right. This was a bit of a surprise, actually. But it looks like The Witcher Season 2 is set to premiere in December of this year on Netflix. Now, they don't have a concrete date yet. They just said December. But everything we had heard
could be the first,
said 2022, which could have been January 2022. And it's only and we're only getting it like a week earlier. But
that could be a minute later.
Exactly. But it's going to drop at 11:59 p.m. on December 31st.
Yeah.
But that's sooner than I thought we were going to get this. So it's actually pretty good news because
when do we get the time map?
Probably now, right? Because I need to start studying.
I need to study it, so I know. Okay. Well, all right.
And, that had a lot of COVID delays, too. That was a pretty troubled shoot for season 2.
Yes, it did.
So the fact that they've got it all kind of ready to show in December is pretty good, I think.
Yep.
So.
Yep. All right. Next up. Trying to come along here. Ooh, this will be fun.
Yeah, this news just dropped Monday. Kevin Smith announced that Clerks 3 has been greenlit and picked up by Lionsgate and is set to start filming in August. He's actually in New Jersey now doing prep because he broke it on his podcast as well. But not quite comic book news, but it's also not comic book news because Kevin Smith is such a big figure in the pop culture world. But I love Clerks. Clerks 2 is not so much, but Clerks was great. And I can't wait to see this. So
yeah, that'll be a fun one.
Yep.
And next, here we go.
All right, here's the one I know. Here's the one I know you want to talk about. So Black Widow has a record that it probably doesn't want to have, but it is now the holder of the worst second week box office collapse in the MCU history. It dropped 67.5% from week 1 to week 2, which is pretty significant. Now we all kind of know the reasons why, and a lot of it has to do with Disney Plus,
COVID.
But the theater owners are not happy about this because, like Disney isn't hurting as much because they're still raking in the Disney Plus revenue, but theater owners are not.
Right.
So, this thing had a really, really solid week 1. Like, even pre-COVID numbers. Like I think it beat the last Spider-Man movie in its opening weekend, which is pretty good considering we're just crawling out of the pandemic. So this thing was poised. Like I was thinking it might do like Wonder Woman money or something. Maybe it'll do like $800 million, but it doesn't look like it's going to get there.
No.
Because it dropped, like I said, so significantly. I mean, week 2, it lost to Space Jam, which was also day and date streaming for free on HBO Max. And
Right.
it still did more money in the theaters than Black Widow did on week 2. I don't believe this is a testament in any way to the quality of the movie, though. Like,
No.
It's a great movie. I just think I wonder what the future of these like premium releases and day and date releases,
Well,
are going to do. So
it also coincides with, and that's what I hate about this is like everybody's like, oh, it set the record for the worst this and worst that, but it's not even on the level playing field.
right.
You know what I mean? You have so many factors that go into this, and this is a case how this made news that it was like the worst drop in Marvel history, and that's just where like, hey, when you're at the top, they just want to knock you down, and people
that's
are
what I was
so
gonna
excited to say that.
That's what I was going to say too, because it's only in Marvel history, right? Not
Right.
Like, how many movies would kill to still do $26 million on their second week? Like, how many movies don't even make that in their first week? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's not.
Well, they're all
It's
excited.
not doing traditional Marvel numbers,
Yeah.
but it's not a bad box office by any means. You know what I mean?
Well, what about Space Jam? And they're like,
Right.
oh, Space Jam beat it. Yeah, in its second week. Let's see Space Jam's second week numbers.
Right.
You know,
Again,
it's like
because it's the same thing.
so excited.
Everybody that wanted to go see it in the theaters went week 1. Everybody else is kind of content to sit back and watch it at home and pay, and pay for the streaming.
Right.
Or in the case of Space Jam, just stay at home and watch it. You don't even have to pay.
Right.
So, like the week 1 numbers are like the me and yous, like the diehard, got to go to the theater to get that experience. But we've talked about it so many times that, so many people would be happy just to watch this on their phone, and so having the option to stay home and watch it, really is going to impact box office numbers on anything, not just this movie, on any movie.
Yeah. And I actually heard people saying like they were mixing up how the numbers worked. And it's like all the reports I saw were Disney Plus was 60. And then like the opening weekend was like 80 at domestic, right?
Domestic.
And people were saying that part of the 80 was the 60. So they really only did 20. And it's like, no, they did 80 plus 60. And when you divide it out, they get the full 60 million.
That's
and then they only
like,
get half of the 80 because the other half goes to the theaters, right? So at the end of the day with that, their opening weekend, they took in 100 cash to them, right? They netted 100. And that's just domestic.
Well, and that's the whole thing. The only ones that are upset are the theater owners.
Right.
Disney's just fine,
Right.
because they make more profit. If they could do the thing 100% on Disney Plus, they'd probably be happy because they get to keep so much more of it.
Right.
So, so it just kind of remains to be seen how much they want to back the theater industry, I guess, or experience. You know what I mean?
Well, I think if you're doing, look at it this way. What did Endgame did like $1 billion on opening weekend, didn't it? It was like,
it was something crazy.
It was something crazy. So if they're sharing that with the theaters, that's $500 million they made opening weekend.
Right.
Right. Okay. Well, you have to do that. They need the theaters to do that.
Right.
But we have to that's the other part of this Black Widow thing is a lot of the towns and cities, everybody was talking about a COVID ramp up. Well, who the hell's going to want to go and sit in a theater? People were skeptical to begin with. So now so there's a lot of things going on here, and we need to be out of COVID for like a year before people are going to be 100% comfortable just going back to normal, because it's every time you put the news on, there's something. So
yeah, well, and I mean,
tough.
something like California's back in masks again.
Yeah.
Like there's parts of the country, like we may be swinging right back into this all over again. So,
yeah.
So yeah, and like I said, it's news. We put it in the news. I don't know,
Right.
that I'm not like, ready to abandon ship and think it's, all of that. But, I know a lot of people were talking about it, a lot.
Yeah. No, and and good for them. And it's good for Marvel. People are talking about it. It's funny. People want to knock them down. That's great. But that's what happens when you're on top. So.
Well, right. Yeah. The only people that people want to knock down are the ones that are at the top. Right.
Yeah.
So
nobody's knocking me down.
Exactly.
I'm already laying on the floor half dead. Yeah. Kick me. All right. On that note, let's move along.
All right. And this is classified firmly in the rumor department, but there is some news breaking that young Leia Organa has been cast for the Obi-Wan series on Disney Plus. They mentioned an actress named Vivian Lyra Blair being cast in the role. Again, take this with a huge grain of salt, but a lot of times these, especially when they come this detailed with the actual name of the person, it's probably fairly accurate. So I would say if we're casting young Leia, they're probably casting young Luke as well. So we may see some of that on this show. Now, Luke makes more sense to me than Leia, because Leia is nowhere near Tatooine when Obi-Wan is there. So how she fits into the story, I don't know.
Well, her family moves around. She's part of the Organa thing, and
and he might visit her.
Blah, blah,
like
blah.
He might be out there visiting her, but I don't think we see the two of them on screen together as far as a young Luke and a young Leia goes, because that would just totally blow up
everything.
Continuity. And continuity isn't the strongest suit of Star Wars to begin with, but I don't think we can explain away young Luke and young Leia mingling together when they're kids, and then it's not like Obi-Wan forgetting the droids, you don't forget that. So, but yeah, like I said, that would be awesome. Obviously I'm all for expanding that story if it makes sense. So, I think that'd be good.
All right. Let's see. Is that? That's the last one, right?
That's the last thing I had. Yeah.
All right. I had one, but we'll save it for next week because we've got so much stuff to do. And it was just a fun one. It would spark a discussion and then we would get going. So.
Okay.
All right. Let's move along to, we're getting into some comics now, John.
We are.
John, what am I going to spend my money on this week?
All right. First book we're going to take a look at is Captain Marvel number 30. There's a 1 in 25 Terry Dodds variant for just a bit over ratio at about $35. The two open to order variants, Peach Momoko and Rob Liefeld, are selling steadily, but pretty much right at cover price. So I wouldn't wait if you want one, because they might sell out, but they're not necessarily selling out due to speculators.
I actually like the Liefeld one.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah,
not bad at
Peach
all.
Momoko.
I actually like the Peach cover in this
Peach
case.
Peach is nice, but it looks like it should go on a refrigerator.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not the biggest Peach fan, although when we talk about get to FOC, there's another one that I like quite a bit as well. But
okay.
All right, next we have Miles Morales 28. There's a Captain America variant cover. Seems to be selling for between $5 and $8.
It's a nice one.
It is really cool.
Nice one.
Yeah, really cool.
Yep.
Nightwing 81 second print, also selling very quickly, but still right in the cover price range. But obviously, Nightwing 81 was a big reveal. So if you weren't able to get that first printing, you definitely want to grab this and read it because
Does
it is a
Nightwing
great
come out
series.
this week as well?
Nightwing 82 comes out
today.
Yes,
Okay.
today.
All right. Yeah, I've been looking forward to that, and I was afraid I missed it, and I'm like, how would I miss it? But
yeah, no,
really
it's
looking
today.
forward to
Yeah, I can't wait to read it. Actually, it's kind of right now. It's my Daredevil. You know.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah,
it's
we
the
said
one
that a
I'm-
couple weeks ago
yeah.
too. Yeah,
The one I'm most looking forward to.
one you wish was bi-weekly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Sonic the Hedgehog 42. I'm going to stop listing these, I think, at this point because it's the 1 in 10 variant and it's selling for double ratio. It's the same. I can't tell you how
find
many.
the cover, so.
Yeah, I don't know how many months in a row we've said that. So, but yeah, if you can get the 1 in 10 variant, it's selling for about $20. Same thing with this Star Wars High Republic Adventures. The 1 in 10 variant is selling for $20.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
both of those we've talked about for every issue. Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters, Jabba the Hutt, the one shot. This ties into the War of the Bounty Hunters storyline, obviously. This is the first appearance of Deva Lompop. Don't know the significance there, but it's selling pretty steadily. There's 2 variant covers. A Chang variant, which is selling for cover price, but it does feature Deva on the cover, so it might be worth looking at. And then the 1 in 25 variant is definitely the one to grab if you can. It's selling for around $100 already, so
Cool.
Definitely one to look at. Superman in the Authority, issue number 1. The 1 in 25 Jen Bartel variant is selling for just over ratio at $30 to $35. But this also features new versions of the characters Light Ray and Omac, so that might bring some extra attention to even the regular cover, regular issues. So just want to keep an eye on.
That's a cool cover too.
It is, yeah. And then Usagi Yojimbo 21. Another IDW 1 in 10 variant that's selling for $20. And then finally, White issue number 1, the second printing is selling for around $10.
All right.
That is it for Speculator.
All right. Unfortunately, this week, John, we're having issues here. You can't hear the sound, but let's get into back issue bonus.
All right, we're going to dive into back issue bonus.
Sound.
Yeah. A lot of Loki stuff going on.
You think?
in the back issue bonus this week.
Yeah.
Starting with Avengers 267. And I don't know if I should even say this. Is this a spoiler? Like, should we even wait till Kryptonite to talk about this?
Well, if the books are for sale,
yeah.
It's
So anyways, this is the first Council of Kangs is selling. It's like the Council of Wells on the Flash, I guess.
right.
This is selling for between $50 and $60. Check your dollar bins for this one. Star Wars Adventures number 14. This is the first appearance of Agent Callus. It's pretty cheap at the moment, but there are no copies available on eBay right now. So no telling exactly what the sales price on this should be. But the last sale on the 1 in 10 variant was at $40. So there's definitely some interest on this issue. Chariot number 1. This was just announced as being optioned by Warner Brothers. AWA book that came out just a few weeks ago, maybe 2 months ago. I think number 2 was out, or
I
right
think
now.
number 2 just came out last week.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
So who knows if this will pan out? There's so many announcements that things get optioned and then we don't ever see them. But
right. But I think
either
we
way,
said, I'm still reading it, and I think we said when it came out, this seems like something
I don't know. I
that
haven't
it
read
would
it.
be perfect. You didn't read
I haven't.
Chariot?
I did not
I
read
thought
it.
you
I don't.
did.
No.
I
no,
think it'll
haven't
be
read it.
perfect for a show. It
Yeah.
lends itself to that.
So hopefully it will. Either way, right now it's a $20 to $30 book, and
Cool.
could continue to rise if they actually go into production.
Yeah.
Star Wars Thrawn number 3, first appearance of Arinda Price, selling for $40. Sensational She-Hulk number 40. This is listed as the jump rope issue. I have no idea what that means, but excuse me. A raw copy sold the other day for $275 and is still climbing. So,
all right.
Yeah, don't know. Avengers West Coast number 61. This is a cameo of the Timekeepers, selling for between $25 and $30. Sorry. Excuse me.
You gonna make it?
Yeah.
I'm having a tough time over there.
Frog in my throat. Okay. Thor 245. This is the first appearance of He Who Remains. We talked about this a few weeks ago, and it's already now climbing again in price.
Huh. I kind of dropped the ball. I don't have that one.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well. I went right to Marvel Team Up.
Marvel Team Up.
Sorry.
It's all right. Raw copies of this are selling for around $80, and even low-grade copies are selling for at least $25. So definitely grab it up if you can. Should have grabbed it a couple of weeks ago when we talked about it. But, like all things, this will probably settle down over the next few weeks, and you might be able to get it on a deal before the next thing pops up that makes it rise again. Okay, Marvel Team Up Annual number 1. This is a Spider-Man X-Men crossover, selling for about $125.
I almost bought that today. I was I love the Spider-Man X-Men team ups. And that's the first one, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
And I was like, when I saw it, I'm like, 125. I could go on and get it because I loved the books. I loved when you and I talked about that when we first started doing the podcast, and it was like that stuff was so much fun when we were kids. When you just flipped open and like you get to that panel and there'd be a character that's not supposed to be there, and you're like, it's like, I always loved that. But yeah, team ups like this, Spider-Man and X-Men, so much fun.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Silverhawks. Yep. Silverhawks number 1. There's a lot of rumors right now of a reboot of this cartoon, and it's driving the price of this through the roof right at the moment, selling for between $50 and $100. So,
wow.
Definitely, again, one to watch and see if they actually make, make a reboot of it. So, and then last but not least, Avengers Forever number 1. All Kang all the time.
Yep.
This is about $8 to $10 right now. There's a Westfield variant that features Kang on the cover. That one's selling for about $100. And then issue number 9 is also considered one of the definitive Kang origins, and that one is selling for between $30 and $50.
Oh, I don't have that one. I have the other. I have the other two.
Number 1, yeah. So,
cool. The second one you talked about with Kang on the cover. That's a pretty cool cover. Purple. Yeah. It's like he actually is like very close to looking like Green Goblin with the purple and green. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
All right.
That's all we have.
That is it. Yep.
All right.
For back issue bonus.
All right. Let's get to FOC.
So from DC, we have variant covers for Catwoman number 34 by Jenny Frison. Pretty simple cover, but I like it. Just Batman and Bruce and Selina. On the cover. Like I said, very simple, cool. But pretty cool. Justice League number 67 by Alexander Lozano. That's a pretty nice cover as well. And then maybe my favorite, last but not least, Truth and Justice number 7, Jung Jin Yoon. Nice as a Tana cover.
Why? You like bunny rabbits? That's what it is.
That's what it is. Yeah, I'm a magic guy. I like.
You're a magic guy. All right.
Yeah, I like magic tricks.
I'll make this disappear.
Yeah. For new series, we have Batman Secret Files. I'm going to try to keep us on track, man. Clown Hunter, the one shot with multiple covers. And then Superman versus Lobo, number 1 of 3. This is a Black Label premium format book, and it has multiple covers. So that one should be pretty cool, actually. I'm looking forward to that. I'm not the biggest Lobo fan, but I like to see him in Superman square off.
Yeah. I'm enjoying him in... well, we'll talk about it when we get to checkout.
Okay. From Dark Horse, we have Killer Queens, number 1 of 4 with multiple covers. From IDW, Bermuda number 2. Now, I don't ever list the 1 in 25 variants here because I don't feel like they're readily available everywhere. But I'm a huge J. Scott Campbell fan, and I really liked this cover. So,
cool.
I wanted to put it. Yeah, I wanted to put it there. But keep in mind, this is a 1 in 25 variant, so won't be easy to snag. And J. Scott Campbell has his fan base, so it's gonna be a lot of people trying to get this. So if you want it, don't expect to get it on the cheap.
Yeah.
From Image, we have King Spawn number 1 with all kinds of covers. On that.
All right.
First book that spins out of the Spawn universe. First new series. So
looking forward to that.
Yeah, should garner some attention.
You know, I'm a big new Spawn fan.
I know you're a new Spawn fan.
Yep.
Variant covers for Moon Knight number 2 by Peach Momoko. So I actually like this cover.
It is a cool cover.
Yeah, and so I'm not the biggest Peach fan, as I mentioned earlier, but
this doesn't look like her typical work, though.
It doesn't. But yeah, I don't know. Something about it just kind of struck me, and I really liked it. So
you know why? It's her style, but there's no pastels.
Yeah.
Or the quote pastels is the gray, really, right? Because it's pretty much black and white, some red, but it's not really her like pastel-y look.
Right. The watercolor look that she usually has. Okay, new series from the I'm coming out just a little bit too late department. Kang the Conqueror number 1. This is going to be a 5-issue miniseries, and it has multiple covers. And then X-Men, The Trial of Magneto number 1 of 5 with multiple covers. And that is it for FOC.
All right, let's get to checkout for this week.
Yeah, so as previously mentioned, I was on vacation, so I didn't get a chance to read a bunch. I only have one book that I read, so hopefully you have something else to bring to the discussion. Yeah, because I did not read a lot, but I did read Beyond the Breach number 1. This was from Aftershock Comics. It was written by Ed Brisson, and it had art by Damian Cusiero. This book starts on page 1 and never really stops. Like there was no, I didn't feel like there was any build up for this. Like it felt like it just started in the middle, and I really liked it. Cool. You know, it follows a woman named Vanessa. She's kind of heading out to vacation because, you know, her mom just died. She found out her boyfriend was cheating on her with her sister. And, you know, it starts out, she's leaving him a whole bunch of voicemails in the car. And as she's driving, something happens to her. She's not really quite sure what happens. And she wakes up and all hell's broken loose. You know, there's car crashes all around her. There's monsters eating people, and you know, she finds herself having to try to save a little boy who's stuck in a car. And there's not a lot of explanation here, where these monsters came from. You know, obviously the breach has broken, and these things are spilling off into our world. And I'm sure there'll be some more information forthcoming. But this is really just kind of her trying to save this little guy and figure out what's going on. And I liked it. I did too. You know, they pick up this little creature that seemed like it was on their side trying to fight off the monsters, but I'm not quite sure what the motivations of that guy is. So I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. I just thought this was a lot of fun. I thought the art was good. I thought it was, like I said, it was really quick, fast paced. It never felt like it was dull or slow. And
no, it picks up really quick and just keeps that pace the whole time. really were on the edge of your seat while you're reading it. You're like, whoa, where is this going to go? And I actually, that's the one, I don't think it's a downer, but like, where is this going to go?
I don't know.
It's like, what's
it had
the
some
purpose?
cool, it kind of had her itinerary at the end of the book, which I thought was kind of cool. Just some of the little notes she had in the margins where she like, oh, I was going to do this, but I forgot my shoes or whatever it was, Yeah. And, I don't know. Like I said, it was a lot of fun, and I'm definitely looking forward to reading number 2. So,
yeah, looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
All right. I have a couple more. I was very excited to see this. I was reading this a while ago. Ninjak #1 from Valiant.
Oh, yeah.
Writer Jeff Parker. Art by Javier Pulido, I guess. So the one thing I will say is I am not crazy about the artwork.
Okay.
It's very simple. It's almost like newspaper type, like comic, like very, like almost like Ziggy-ish.
Right.
Very simple. I would have, especially for I love ninjas. I love the Ninjak story. I love the whole thing with MI6 and everything that goes on there and how special he is. And I have read Ninjak in the past, so I was familiar with the character, but this is a #1 that I think people can pick up because the story starts out and then they go into, then after a few pages, they actually give you a little bit of backstory, but it's part of the story. So I think if you've never read it and you like espionage, you like ninjas, you like, intrigue, stuff like that. That's what I really enjoyed about Ninjak. And this story seems to be picking up right where it left off. And it was just a lot of fun. And like I say, that's how much I enjoyed the story, is that I'm not a fan of the artwork. The entire time I'm reading it, I'm like, this could be so much better if there was like a more, detailed art here. But I did really enjoy it. And if you like ninjas and espionage and how that could even possibly cross over with like CIA and MI6, it was a lot of fun. And speaking of artwork, Sinister War #1, Marvel Comics, writer Nick Spencer, art by Mark Bagley.
Yep.
This is a blast. I don't know if you had a chance to read that or if you're going to read it.
I didn't read it.
It was a lot of fun. I had so much fun with the artwork. I thought was fantastic, especially after reading Ninjak. This like jumps off the page at you. Very colorful, lots of detail, great art, just a lot of fun. And I mean, it's the Sinister War, John. You got two. What was it? I can't remember what it was. Sinister 6 and the Sinister. What did they call it? There was another group, and it's, other than the Sinister, they're facing off against each other. I can't remember what they called them now. Savage 6. It was a Savage 6. So they're going at each other. You've got the story going on, kind of crosses over from the Spidey book that we're reading with him and
it's
MJ.
been building to this for a while.
So good. So good. I'm having so much. But again, if you haven't been reading along with Spider-Man, but Spider-Man, you'll be fine. You'll get it. And I mean, who MJ is and all that. So, really good. I know it's not a, indie book or anything like that, but I had a lot of fun with it. And it's much like, I don't think it's on the level of Daredevil or Nightwing, but it's just one of those fun books that this is the stuff that I wish like War of the Realms was, or X-Men series was. I want fun. I want to have a good time when I'm reading the book, and that's what I got out of this. So, and you didn't really read anything else, right?
Well, no, but I did. I wanted to say I read before I left. I got advanced copies of The Me You Love in the Dark, which we talked about maybe 2 weeks ago.
Thank God
being
you said
on
that
FOC.
was a book. I didn't think we were going to talk about that here.
Yeah. I think we talked about this. the last show we did, it was on FOC. It was written by Scotty Young and had art by George Corona. So yeah, I got advanced copies of issues 1 and 2 and read those. And obviously, I'm not going to get into any details on these because they haven't even come out yet. But just a mild preview, we will be talking about this book when it comes out in a week or so, because I really dug this book. I think you should pick it up for sure. Now, I will say that since I read the first 2 issues, I'm not quite sure where it really picked up for me, because I don't want to say it starts off a little slow, but there's some build up to it. So it might be in issue 2 where it really takes off. And so I know it's a big ask to tell people to buy the first 2 issues.
Yeah.
But this is a great I really dug it. So when it comes out, we'll definitely talk about it. But I will say, if you read number 1 and you're not 100% there yet, pick up number 2 and you will be, because this is a lot of fun. I really, like I said, I'm really looking forward to it. Cool. And then I did read, I forgot that I read this, but I read Fight Girls by Frank Cho. Okay. Before I went on vacation as well. So I don't have all the details on it here, but it's AWA, like I said, written and drawn by Frank Cho, created by Frank Cho. This was actually kind of fun too. It's basically it's like I don't even know how to describe it. It's a bunch of women competing to through an obstacle courses, kind of life and death obstacle courses. Yeah. And whoever wins and comes out the end gets to be queen. So cool. It's really interesting though, because it's all done it's kind of set up as a pay-per-view, you're watching this event and following these women. But what I thought was funny about it is this is the person that's going to be your queen when all is said and done. But it's to their benefit to be backstabby and you know, kind of not really a great person to win this event. So it was kind of fun. I liked it. Couple of surprises right off the bat. You start to follow a couple characters that you think are going to be really important, and then you find out they're not going to be. Yeah. So I don't know. If you haven't picked it up, it came out 2 weeks ago now, but it was fun. Right. I thought it was pretty good. So
cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Moths. Did you read that number 2?
I did actually read that too. I read that when I got back.
That was really cool.
It was cool.
I thought it was a little slow at the beginning, but I loved where they went with it.
Yeah.
That was pretty, when she's in the diner after they went to the cliff, and then they're hanging out in the diner and all of a sudden everything hits her. I thought that was really cool. I love that story, where they're going with that.
Well, right, and they subtly mentioned that they were 5 months in, so she doesn't have a lot of time left. So
no, I know, and it's as you're reading it, you're like, that's right. There's a time limit on her, not on this. On her. And it's 6 months, sad. And we're in month 5, and she's just kind of coming into the peak of her powers, right? Yeah. So she doesn't have a lot of road in front of her. No. So, but yeah, that was pretty good. I still really like where that story is going. Yes. So. Yes. Bunny Mask from Aftershock number 2. You didn't read 1, right?
I did read 1. I didn't like it as much as you did, but I probably will still read number 2, but I haven't.
Yeah,
yet.
Check it out. It's still a weird book, very weird, but it was good. I enjoyed it. Batman 110. Did you read that yet?
I feel like I did, but I don't remember what happened.
He sets off some bombs in Morse code. Do you remember that? Yeah. Isn't that pretty cool? I love that. Cool. I love little things like that when they're and it's funny, what was it, Ghostmaker or whatever? It's I know what that said. How the heck?
I know. How would you know?
Yeah. What did he say? A former instructor taught them that or something. If you're ever in a building and you need to signal somebody, set the bombs off in a certain
sequence. Because that's going to come up a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, John, it did.
Well, yeah, I guess no learning goes to waste.
Nope, I guess. Yep. Look at you. The Proverbs. The Joker, issue 5. Did you read that? Which has the correct title of it, The Commissioner and the Clown. Finally, that's what this book should be called.
When did that come out? That came out last week?
It was either last week or the week before, but I've just got a pile here that I was reading.
Yeah, I was going to say, I read the latest one, but I think that was like maybe 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago.
Issue number 5, yeah, and it's a lot of Gordon. It's the origin.
Yeah,
of
they
their
kind of team up, right? They're kind of teaming up.
Yeah,
Joker and Gordon. Yeah.
Well, no, Gordon is back in like Arkham, and this goes way back to like the founding of Arkham and him going into Arkham. Joker.
Oh, maybe I haven't read that. The last one I read was when like he knocks on the Joker's door and everybody's coming to kill him, and they kind of like have to team up and survive together.
Issue 5.
Okay, so no, I haven't read that yet.
Oh, okay. I won't tell you anymore then.
Yeah.
All right, and it would be funny if 6 was out and you read that and this was, I don't know, but you hadn't read that.
Yeah.
But, Justice League Last Ride number 3. Did you read that?
No.
Oh, another one. That's like the Sinister War or whatever.
Yeah.
So much fun. And Lobo and that, they've got to protect them and everything, and how, the ramifications of the world, the ramifications of the Justice League, and where like the title Last Ride comes from. And it's like,
right.
Really enjoying that. I like that one. I think that and Sinister War are going to be right up there with every month. Like I just can't wait to read those. They're just fun, just old school fun. So.
Yeah, I've got a pile of books to read still because, like I said, I'm a week behind.
Yeah.
So
I'm caught up on what I'm reading. You're reading more than I am, but I got a pile of stuff to watch. So,
yeah.
See,
I try to read. I try to read most
Everything.
of what comes out. It's
right.
I don't get to all of it, but I try to. Some of it just doesn't interest me, and I just don't read it. But
right. But for next week, we have a couple coming up here.
Yeah.
We have Dark Blood number 1.
Yep, Dark Blood number 1 from Boom.
What have you heard about that? Anything good? Have you
I haven't heard anything about it, honestly.
Surprise?
No. I haven't heard anything about that one.
Looks interesting.
Yeah.
And what's the other one we have?
MOM. Yep, Mother of Madness. This is the Amelia Clark book.
She wrote it?
She
That's the Amelia Clark we know from the
she wrote it as much as Keanu Reeves is writing Berserker. You know what I mean?
Oh, their names.
Yeah, okay. But she's attached to this. This is a 3-issue series. Now, I've actually read this already. I read it a couple of weeks ago. I'll read it again, so we can talk about it. But I read it.
Was it good?
I read the advanced copy of it. Yeah, it wasn't bad. I thought it was. I mean, I didn't love it, but I thought it was decent. I mean, maybe, like I said, maybe a second read through, I'll see how I feel about it after reading it again. But it was definitely interesting. So, and it's like I said, it's only a 3-issue series. So, if you read number 1, you're kind of all in, right? Because
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. And that is all we have for checkout.
Yep.
You ready to get to what do we got next? Real World.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Big fun.
Well, again, pretty slow for me, because I was gone.
Oh,
for a
good.
week,
so we can pick up some speed here.
I didn't watch a lot while we were gone. Obviously, I did watch one movie though that we watched in the hotel. I don't remember the exact title of it. It was Old Boy something, Day of Vengeance or something along those lines. Okay. It has basically this is the origin story of Thanos and Scarlet Witch, I guess, because it stars James Brolin and Lizzie Olsen.
Oh wow!
This is a pretty new movie. It's a Spike Lee joint, so it's relatively new.
Movie? Okay.
Relatively new, I would say. I mean, definitely within the last 10 years or so.
What was the
I don't
title
know exactly.
Again?
Old Boy something. like I said, it's Old Boy, because there's another movie called Old Boy with completely different people, and I think this is kind of a successor to that or something. But ultra violent, just fight and kill everybody, kind of guy on a revenge mission kind of thing. But it had, and I'm not even going to say it was honestly, I'm not even going to say it was a good movie because it wasn't that great. I think I like both of those people. Obviously, we've talked about Lizzie Olsen a bunch. I like her a lot. I like Brolin, but I thought they were both terrible in this. Like, the acting was just really bad. But
Samuel Jackson's in it.
Samuel L. Jackson is in it. There's a bunch of people in it, actually. But but it has one of the biggest twist endings.
Rami Malek.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
It just has this huge twist ending that makes the whole thing worthwhile. Like, it's
nice.
It's like I said, not the best movie. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. You should check it out because it's a very disturbing ending, actually.
Oh boy.
But it'll definitely make you cringe when you find out what the story is. But so I watched while we were gone. And then, obviously came back on Sunday and tried to get caught up on a few things. So we watched Loki and Bad Batch. I watched to get caught up. And then...
believe it or not, I'm still one behind on Bad Batch.
Are you?
I didn't watch... It slipped my mind from... I've been trying to rebuild this and trying to get everything done, and I completely forgot I needed to watch the second, because it's actually a two-parter. 11 and 12 are kind of like a two-parter, and I was really looking forward to 12, and I'm like, I just slipped my mind. But
so Bad Batch is still good. Obviously. Well, we won't be able to go into as much detail because you haven't seen it.
We'll save that for next week.
But Animal Kingdom, which is a show we watched over the summer, or I guess over the spring. We binged all 4 seasons of that. And season 5 started last Sunday while we were gone. So we got caught up on that. And what else did I watch? That's kind of it. Oh, I watched, we watched Quiet Place 2 because they dropped it on Paramount Plus.
I haven't seen that one.
So it's Quiet Place 1 again. It was kind of the same movie.
It's quiet.
Yeah, I mean, it's the exact same premise, right? Like, if you saw the first one, they're trying to survive the creatures that can hear them. But it had obviously John Krasinski is gone because he died in the first one. Spoilers. There's a mild flashback with him at the beginning of this movie.
Didn't he direct the second one or both of them?
He wrote and directed both of these. Yeah. So
he killed himself.
He killed himself. Like I said, gave himself a little bit of a flashback in the beginning because you kind of see you get to go back and see the origin of like the outbreak, or like not the outbreak, but like the invasion or whatever. And then it's really just the family, and Cillian Murphy is the kind of like the male lead in this one, which I like him a lot because I like Peaky Blinders quite a bit, and he's great in that. But what I thought was interesting is this dropped on Paramount Plus. I was surprised to see it in Dolby Atmos because I didn't realize Paramount Plus had that technology. So,
they do.
So yes,
I did not know that. Look at your breaking news to me. I'm going to have to throw that into my home theater podcast this week.
So I was surprised to see that because I was expecting my receiver to show Dolby, and
what were you running that through? Apple
TV. Yep,
cool.
Apple TV.
Oh, I'm gonna have to check that out.
And just like Quiet Place 1, it's a great Dolby Atmos movie.
Yeah,
because so much of this movie revolves around sound that it really, even being a stream now, because I watched the first one on disc. I own it. So obviously the sound quality is great there, but even streaming through Paramount Plus, it was still pretty good. A lot of good sound going around the room. So yeah, it was pretty good.
Cool.
And I think That's about it. Because like I said, we've only had one day to, really watch TV, which was Sunday. So we watched a few things.
And you still probably watch more than I did.
Keeping up with Kevin Can F Himself. I don't know if you've had a chance to watch that yet.
No, that was the one I had. I meant to tell you 2 weeks ago that we watched that, and we watched 3 episodes. But what are you watching it on? Because on Amazon, they're telling us to pay for it.
I'm watching it on Philo, my TV. I have Philo TV, and it's on AMC. And so
AMC, okay,
yeah, it's on AMC, so that's just part of my package on Philo. So it should be part of your who you use.
We have
Fubo. Fubo. It should be part of Fubo.
I think I'm not sure if AMC.
You might just get it on demand because we're just getting it on demand on AMC.
All right, but, awesome.
Oh, but you watched a couple of them already?
We watched the first 3, and oh my god,
isn't it great?
It's a great show, but it's an awful show.
Well, it is.
The parts where the story is really sad.
Yes.
Other than the fact that they live in Worcester, but they show the best parts of Worcester, of course.
Oh yeah.
No, but the parts, like you said, that are like a sitcom, they are so bad.
They are, because he's horrible.
He's horrible. The acting is horrible. It's such a bad sitcom. It's like, not only is it a sitcom, it's like a sitcom from like a bad sitcom from like
from like the 70s.
70s, where you're just completely overacted. Like WandaVision. When they did, they acted the way they should have acted in the appropriate sitcoms that they were in, which was great. And they're doing the same thing here, but it is cringeworthy. Like Jen and I said it to, and we've only seen 3 episodes because that's all we could get for free on Amazon. Yeah, because
there's like 6 now.
Okay,
number 6 came out this week.
So they're like, we'll have to catch up. It's not hard to catch up.
It's not. There's only you're 3 behind, so
we're 3 behind. We'll be caught up as long as we can get it on AMC. We'll catch up like that.
Yeah,
but the whole time, every time they go to those scenes, we look at each other and go, if the other scenes weren't so good, and the story wasn't that good, you'd be like, I'm shutting this off. This is horrible. Why am I watching this?
Well, especially the neighbor, like the friend.
That helps her out?
Really bad. No,
guy?
The guy, Kevin's friend.
Kevin
horrible. Himself too is horrible.
Kevin is absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible.
So you didn't see, I don't think this was in the first 3. You didn't see the episode where he built the escape room in his basement?
No.
That's probably like episode 4. That's so bad.
I saw I think the last one we saw was when he bought the, he tried to buy it and she found it on him. The Bill Belichick hoodie.
Oh yeah, the hoodie. Yeah, and she took
hysterical. Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah,
but there's so many references, like so many Boston references there, and it's great.
Yeah,
but
some of them, a lot of them aren't good ones either.
No, they're not.
All the negative parts.
It's bad stereotypes. Of, of
they're
New
true.
England,
they're true. Yeah. You can't. I mean, we know that, but it's Oh man, it's so it's so great.
But I just like the way, like I said, I really like the way they shoot that show because it is obviously the sitcom parts are done badly on purpose because that's how she views her life,
Right.
And it gets progressively worse, as it keeps going.
Yeah.
Because her life keeps getting progressively worse.
Yeah.
So
it's it's definitely worth checking out. It's very, very creative way to shoot a show.
Yeah.
It's write it.
Yeah, I've never seen really one quite like it.
Thank God.
I guess WandaVision is the closest comparison, but even that wasn't really it's not really the same. Because
you're right.
it didn't really jump. Well, it kind of jumped back and forth a little bit, like when they were in the military camp versus the the town. But for the most part, each episode stayed within its theme through the whole thing.
Right.
Where this show jumps back and forth constantly throughout the whole show.
Right.
And
Yeah. It's I mean, when they're in that sitcom world, you're dying for them to get out of it. You're just,
but like I said, the colors change.
Yeah,
everything changes. Like it looks like a sitcom, and then you get into like her dingy real world where it looks like Worcester. You know, so
it's so bad.
But yeah, so
I'm not far from Worcester, so I'm practically that's where I live. So, all right.
What else did you watch?
Let's see. That's about it.
We always talk about what I watched, but we don't really talk about what you watched.
Well, that's the thing is I'm trying to think of what am I doing this week? This week.
Any more Queen of the South? Any more Selena?
Yes. More Queen of the South, and really enjoying that. We're cooking along on that one. We still haven't finished Lucifer. We have one episode left, and I think I told you that like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
We came home from somewhere, and I said, let's watch Lucifer. I was looking forward to it all day, and I sat down, I put my seat back, and it just went boom, out.
Yeah.
Jen stopped it. She woke me up. She goes, let's go to bed. You're out. I was like, okay. Yeah. But yeah, I think we were going to watch that tonight, but maybe we're going to try and get Kevin can F himself tonight while we have dinner, so. Yeah, I've been bouncing around in the theater on a bunch of different things. Obviously we talked about the Tomorrow War, right? We did, yes, a couple weeks, 2 weeks ago. We talked about that.
Well, actually, no, we didn't, because when we talked about it, I hadn't seen it. Remember, I told you I'd only seen the.
Oh, and you've seen it?
Yeah.
now?
So actually,
What'd
yes,
you think?
I did. I did watch it in my, my system and all that stuff. Yeah, it was great. I really liked it. Yeah.
I was wondering if you were going to like it because it is very it's not an original story. It's there's a lot of cliches. There are.
I mean,
but it's so fun.
It's got a few moments that are a little cringy, but
yeah.
But yeah, it was just fun. Like you said, it was kind of for me like you look at Independence Day, A lot of loud booms, a lot of fun.
That's how I look at everything, John. Right. A lot of loud booms, a lot.
But really great quality. Like I said, great quality with the sound and the picture. And now they're talking about a sequel, when I'm not quite sure where that goes. But
there's a lot of questions at the end. We won't talk spoilers, but there's a lot of questions at the end because just like everything else, like how does time travel work? Does everything that's supposed to happen, or have they altered things? Right. Did they do things? Did their plan work? Did this, that? And I mean, that's not really a spoiler. You know the story. You know what's
and it came out a month ago. So
true.
It's
but it's funny. There's a lot of hate for it on the internet, and there's a lot of love for it. It's a very polarizing movie right
people
now.
Either really, really liked it or really disliked it.
Yeah.
So,
and what's funny, here's a little sneak peek for the home theater fans that listen to my podcast. Ara Dadarian from HT Guys, he actually texted me on Sunday and he said, "Have you seen this yet?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I already did a 5-minute podcast on it." And I said, "Do you want to record?" And we jumped on and we had a 5-10 minute conversation about it. And I already threw it in the podcast, and my podcast, I made it sound like he called in the podcast. Right. Like I put the phone call in. I was like, "Hey, Ara's on the phone. Here we go." And people are really enjoying it. And I think a lot of the people that are really enjoying it, I think I told you this a couple weeks ago, is they're the home theater fans. Because we get to enjoy it. This movie was actually meant for theaters, and Amazon bought it.
Amazon bought it.
Yeah, so it's got that quality. Like I said, or you said it, it's not the greatest movie ever. It's got some acting issues with it. There's a couple of issues of filmmaking that I wasn't crazy about, but it is just so much fun. I love the what's her name? Yvonne
Strahovski.
Strahovski.
Yeah. Sarah.
From Chuck. Yeah. Loved her in that. I love the whole story of her, and it reminded me a lot of me and Meg and their dichotomy and everything like that. Just that stuff there. It's like you and I'll talk spoilers a little. When you call me and tell me about Mexico, we can talk spoilers on that. But a lot of fun. Really enjoyed that movie. Trying to think of what else. I told you I watched Long Halloween, right?
Yes.
I'm actually read it. We'll talk about that next week. Got back into that. I read the book, and I'm like, we'll talk. We'll save that for next week. But I can't think of anything else. We watched Bowl. We watch, our regular shows, but
right.
All right, that's about it. That's good for this. We're cooking along. I know it's actually going to turn out. I don't know how long Kryptonite's going to go, but
yeah,
we're cooking along good here. But we had a late start because
we did. Yeah,
tooling around with this thing, and
for us it's late.
And exactly. And
we haven't had dinner yet.
And people have actually missed out on the first part of the show. So
right,
because the recording wasn't working. But all right, let's wrap that up. You can find us on YouTube. Click the link in the show notes. If you're not already watching us on YouTube, you can check us out there and hit subscribe. We're up to 20 now, John, like I told you earlier in the I don't know if that actually got recorded or not, but I mentioned it earlier.
Maybe not.
But in the meantime, hey, we're going to go to Kryptonite. For people that don't know, where did Kryptonite come from, John? Kryptonite Key Club. We haven't said this in a while. I know we have some new listeners, but
well, at one point you created a kryptonite colored rock that was actually like a key hiding rock.
Yeah,
and we joked that we were going to put it outside the store with a key in it so that people could come into the store. Yep. And so I believe you actually gave one of those away at some point, right?
I think so, yeah. We gave one of those away. We gave a couple of them away. But
yeah. So if you are in the know, you are part of the Kryptonite Key Club, and so that's why
and you get to come in the store and talk.
You get
spoilers.
to come in the store and talk spoilers with us,
right? Otherwise,
so that's why we lock the door, and only those with the key can come in and
talk spoilers.
Speaking of Kryptonite, real quick,
I'm impressed you remember all that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm an impressive guy, really.
You are.
You constantly underestimate me, but
I never underestimate you.
But I was gonna say, speaking of Kryptonite, real quick, like, you up to date with Lois and Clark?
I'm a couple behind on that as well.
Oh, okay, man, that's great.
Really good.
Man. It is so good.
It is so good. Yeah,
I'm Kyle. We did watch the latest episode of that last night, actually, and that's a great show.
I think the acting is great. The production quality is great. The story is
so
great.
It feels so much more evolved than the other CW shows,
doesn't it?
It really feels like they put so much more into this. It's their new flagship. Arrow's gone, and I think this is
it's their only one.
It's the only one I'm watching.
Exactly. That's my point. It's so good that you go back and watch the other ones, and you're like, this is CW.
I kind of forget that it's a CW show. Exactly. I just think it's on HBO Max or whatever.
It's that good, and that's a great point. Do you think that they up their production quality because of HBO Max? And they don't know where these are going to land?
But I feel like they've definitely upped their game with this. Yeah. Whether it's due to HBO Max, because it might live there afterwards.
It already was on HBO Max for a little bit. The first couple of episodes.
But it feels like they've definitely ramped up for this, for this show. But yeah.
And what's funny is they all came. I mean, the characters.
They all came out of the
Arrowverse. And when they were in there, I thought they were the weaker characters.
Did you?
I wasn't crazy about him as Superman. I wasn't crazy about her, and they nailed it. I am so hooked on him being Superman and her being Lois.
Well, and I think the change of the suit. Yeah, I think the change of the suit, and like I said, they kind of un-CW'd it. You know what I mean? It's like the original suit was definitely a CW suit. You know what I mean? And I guess I feel the same way. Like, I didn't dislike him, but I wasn't super on board with him being Superman, and I wasn't so into the suit and all that. But this show has really turned it up a notch. Like, and they're really good. So.
Right. And that's why, like, I love watching it in my theater. I love it. So I need to make time, but I'm not upset because I record them all. I have them.
Right.
And I'm not upset that I'm a little behind because I just love to sit down and just relax and absorb it and really enjoy it.
Watch a couple of them. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's that good. And I don't know. Oh, we have Titans coming up.
Yeah. Titans comes in a few weeks too.
A couple weeks.
And the poster for that looks great too.
Yes.
Mild spoiler on the poster if you haven't seen it yet, because it does feature. It features a certain Amazon prominently on the poster.
Oh,
so
I've seen a lot. Did you see the trailer for it?
Yeah,
the trailer's great. The trailer, it's like, I mean, they're obviously doing the whole Red Hood thing. I mean, they crowbar, and I don't know if it's going to be the same thing though.
They do say that they're going to flash back to the Joker killing him. So,
okay.
Yeah. So they're going to keep the origin fairly consistent. And like we've all known that Wonder Girl was coming back, but she definitely shows up on the poster.
Yeah.
Corey has a costume on the poster, which looks great. So,
yeah.
Do you
really remember way back
when
we started this podcast, you were not happy with her?
Well, I wasn't happy with her outfit.
Right, I know.
More than anything, yeah.
I know, and that's John. That was 3 years ago.
I know, it's been a long time.
3 years ago, we talked about that. Well, this fall, 3 years ago, this fall, and we were talking about it before it came out because that's what you weren't looking. You weren't
when
happy
the art
with
dropped.
That.
Yeah, when the photos dropped of her in her hooker outfit, for lack of a better word, I was not thrilled with that.
Right. Like, she looks like a hooker. And then when you go and watch the show,
but she ended up being like the best character. Yeah.
she
ended up really being one of the best characters.
Yes.
And
they all
now that
really.
she's in costume, full costume for this season, she looks great. So should be good.
That definitely is a great series right now to binge because you don't have to, like, one of the drawbacks to that is when we were living through it.
Yeah.
The ending of 1 and the beginning of 2 was not a very good transition.
It wasn't, but now if you just go, if you just kind of go one to the other,
right,
and keep moving, it probably won't feel so bad.
It all comes off as like one full season, really.
Yeah,
So, so really looking forward to that. See what they come up with on HBO Max for that. So. But all right, now we'll get to Kryptonite. A little segue there. But in the meantime, if you're not sticking around for Kryptonite and you don't have a key to the Kryptonite Key Club, hey, you can check us out on Twitter. You can reach John directly at Arkham Comics with an X, or you can tweet at the both of us at brightside_chat, and I will forward them on to John. Or you can email us at thebrightsidechat@gmail.com. And that's it. I almost said you can go to our website. We don't have one.
Right.
No, but we do have.
You can still go there.
You can look for it. If
it'll say under construction.
Yeah, way under construction. I've got enough stuff crashing around here. I don't need that.
Don't need a website crashing on me.
Yeah. Again, you can go to YouTube, follow us there at YouTube, whatever. All right. That's it, John. We ready to get out of here?
Yep.
All right. See you guys next week, and we'll be on the other side in the Kryptonite Key Club behind the locked door.
Take care, everyone.
Hey, Fred. All right, John, is that door locked?
It is locked.
Okay. Well, now it's locked. There it goes.
Now it's locked. Yeah. Now that we had the sound effect that said it was locked.
All right. What do you want to start with?
Well, what are my options? It's Loki or Loki, right? Like...
Loki or Black Widow. We have a couple, remember?
We're going to talk about Black Widow.
Do you want to save Black Widow? Well, we said we would. We'll talk. How about we do a little... We'll do Loki a little bit.
The only thing about Black Widow is just the end credit scene, really, right? Well, I'm just saying, it's really just the end credit scene is the only thing that I think really is something to talk about. Because, like, this movie was supposed to come out a year ago, right? Well ahead of Falcon
Right.
Winter Soldier.
Yep.
So obviously, this is spoilers. So, we get to see Contessa Julia Louis-Dreyfus again. So my thought is that, was that the original end credit scene and we were supposed to be introduced to her then?
Yeah.
Or have they gone back and tinkered with the end credit scene to put her into it?
That would
and
be
I don't know the answer. Yeah, that
Right.
was the whole chicken or the egg thing that I was
That's a great
talking
point, yeah.
about,
I thought the same thing. I didn't put chicken and egg together, but
Yeah.
that would be a great thing to find out, a great point to
Right.
find out, because here's what I think, in my perception, what I think happened, and it's kind of bad. It's kind of wrong of me to do this, but because we saw her first in Falcon and Winter Soldier, I felt like it diminished her appearance in Black Widow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if it had been reversed, we would have been like, oh, she actually has a part in, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
she shows up at the end of Black Widow and in a post-credit scene. And then we see her actually in the show and
Right.
has not a substantial role, but a decent role in the show. And it's funny how she just walks into the room, because in the first one, I think that this was actually filmed for Black Widow.
It
ahead of
probably
time.
was, because my question would be, if this was something they changed, what was the original scene supposed to be?
Right.
So.
See, I thought there was going to be a chance at the end that Scarlett Johansson was still alive. That that her character, Black Widow, was still alive and she was going to come out or something. Because when her sister, what did she whistle?
Excuse me. Yes. My cough, I can't get rid of it.
Yeah. That's okay. But yeah, I thought that we were going to get a whistle back or something, and then the screen would go black or something, and we'd be like, woo! But we didn't get anything like that.
Well, and the other thing too is, like, this is a bit of a game changer as well, because this is the first time that a movie is handing off to a TV show, because, this is handing off to Hawkeye,
The first time it's done this way purposefully. Obviously WandaVision came from a movie, and Loki.
Right. But the end credit scenes are generally leading you into the next feature film.
Right. Good point.
And this is now the first time that we've kind of known, but now we are fully integrated. Like, we're going from movies to TV and back and forth.
There's no line anymore. The line isn't even blurred.
It's
they
just the
took it out.
story.
They're all it's all content. It's very similar to
it's all continuity.
Right. It's like War of the Realms in comics, where you don't have to watch this, but you're going to get a lot more information if you watch all.
Right.
But you don't have to. That's.
But I like I said, I like how they set up Yelena and her story. Like, we knew she was going to be in Hawkeye, so that wasn't a huge revelation. But just like I said, the way they've just erased the lines, and it's just they're showing how important Disney Plus is to their entire storytelling.
See, that's
machine. You know what I mean?
And that's what I'm wondering.
Like, you can't. They've made it so you can't not have it. Like, you have to have Disney Plus.
As a
you know what I
fan,
mean?
right?
As a fan, because if you've watched this movie and you got invested in Yelena, you're like, well, I got to see that. You know what I mean? Like, I got to see what happens next. So,
but
I just
not
like
only that, they've made it so that you don't even have to. You don't have to go to the movies.
Well,
that's
no,
what
don't.
they've done. You need to have Disney Plus,
right?
But you don't have to go to the movies.
Right.
If they keep doing $30 day and date, and enough people do it, I wouldn't be surprised if they jack it a buck here, $5, whatever, 35, and people just start like, why would I go to the movies? I'll just watch. It's part of the content to get, and these are the blockbusters, and I'll see them in both places because I want to compare them. But I'm telling you right now, I I don't. This is a conversation that goes on with the home theater people. And I fought you even before I had the home theater podcast. I fought you for years talking about like, we have to support the theaters. We have to support the theaters. And I'm the opposite now. I hate to say it. They need to do something. Theaters need to do something, because when you go and you're like, wait a minute, this is ridiculous. You need to up your game. It's
right, but again, not everybody has the $50,000 theater at their house like you do. You know what I mean?
I have a $50,000 theater.
I bet you if you put it all together,
I built it myself, so you save a lot.
But you built it over years. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
But not everybody has that, so the experience isn't the same for all. Like I've got a pretty nice system here in my house.
Yeah,
but it was for me. It's still better at the theater. Okay. You know, like I don't get the same. I don't get the same quality at home that I get at the theater.
But you care to get that quality. A lot of people don't.
Right.
A lot of people would just, like you said earlier, they'd just be happy to watch it on their phone.
Right.
So if you just want to get the content and that's it, then you don't need to go to the theater anymore.
With your family of 4, it's cheaper to pay the $30 and watch it at home.
Exactly. It's like, I talk to a lot of people pre-pandemic that were like, why can't they just release it at home? Why do they have to do it just in the theater? Why can't they give it to me? And I used to fight them tooth and nail, be like, that's not fair to the theaters. It's not fair. Right. Why would you go to the theater? Blah, 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 blah. And you'd go back and forth. And now I'm like, my eyes have been open to it. And I'm like, I need an answer. I need an answer better. I need an answer from the theaters on why I want to go to the theater. And it can't, because it used to be that's the only place you could see it.
Right.
And now when that's not the only place you can see it, when you go there, you're like, this is aggravating. It's like the people and I'm not even talking about the crowds. I'm talking about the sticky floors, the crappy, they need to make it more accessible and a more enjoyable time when you go to the theater, and they're not doing it yet.
But like you were saying, you were for years defending the theaters, but in no other industry are people defending the backwards technology. Like nobody's crying for Sears because Amazon is there. The only people crying for Sears is Sears. Right? Like nobody else is saying, "Oh, well, you have to go buy it at brick and mortar because." Right. XYZ,
Well, it's funny.
Why should theaters have that? Like, why they don't have that luxury either? If technology is evolving to the point where theaters are obsolete, then they need to.
Right.
Nobody should be crying for them unless they do something to make you want to go there.
Right.
So.
Well, what's funny? It's funny you mentioned Sears, because Sears was the original Amazon.
Well, they
were. Because they had the catalog, and you could order from the catalog, and they would ship it to you.
Right.
And that was the original version of Amazon, and they had everything. You could get clothes, you could get tools, you could get toys, whatever. But yeah, it's funny you say that, but yeah, that was I don't know. I'm glad I have both. I'll be happy to take in a movie at the theater and at home. I love what they're doing. I hope they keep doing it, honestly. And that's a complete change for me, as you know.
Yeah. No, I know.
But yeah, I mean, anything else in Black Widow, the spoiler? I mean,
no, like I said, I didn't want to go too deep on the movie and spoil it, but I thought like I said, the end credit scene was the biggest spoiler. Of the movie, but otherwise, like I said, we talked about the movie in general earlier, but it was surprisingly more touching than I thought it was going to be. Like there was definitely the family moments, like the dinner and
the family,
David Harbour singing American Pie is kind of like, I didn't know I wanted that until I saw it, and then it was like, that was surprisingly like, had to wipe the tears out of my things, and you just never expected to see that kind of story out of it. So that was a little surprising that was there, but yeah, like I said, it was just a lot of fun overall. So
yeah. And I will say one other thing. A lot of people, like when this came out, was like, oh, it's about time. She got this, that, and the other thing. And like Wonder Woman came out before this, and Captain Marvel, why did it take so long for them to have a lead actor, female actor in a movie like that. And people forget the reason it's been a long time is Scarlett Johansson and Black Widow has been out since Iron Man 2.
Yeah, well,
she was the first real like comic book female character that we were like that had a main part that was part of the Avengers, and that was a big deal.
Obviously we all love Scarlet, right? Because Scarlet, and we like Black Widow because of what they've done with her in those movies. But let's not forget, like, Black Widow as a character is not on par with Wonder Woman. You know what I mean?
No,
like, she is a very minor character. So, like, it's kind of overdue that Scarlet got this movie, but Black Widow should never get a movie ahead of Wonder Woman. You know what I mean? Like,
right. But that's what I mean. It's like my point was for the women's movement or whatever, like the idea, like they developed an unknown, not an unknown. We all know who she was, but like you said, it was a small part and they turned it into a blockbuster movie.
Right.
It, like you said, Black Widow 10 years ago has no business having her own movie.
Right.
Right.
It took all the other movies to make this movie possible.
Yeah. And when she shows up in Iron Man 2 in that boxing ring and she walks in, I knew who she was at the time. I was I thought they did a great job with her character then. You were fully invested in that character as a comic book fan. And it's like, and I love that in this movie, they do the hair flip, her sister doing the hair flip.
Great. Yeah.
Oh my God. And it's like, it makes you laugh like it was Deadpoolish.
It was. Well, the superhero landing. Yeah, it was very Deadpool.
She lands, but she doesn't make fun of like the way she lands and lands with the legs out and the hand. Right. It's the hair flip.
Yeah.
And it's so great. And then when she does it later and she kind of like rolled her own eyes,
and
like,
she goes, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was great. But yeah, all of that, it's like, that's what built that character. Is that scene, like even in Iron Man 2, when she flips over the guy and she lands in that hallway and flips her hair back and stuff. And we were all like, yeah. It's such a great, she's a great character. They had great development of her character over the years. And it's like, it almost feels like you couldn't have made this movie a few years ago. It wouldn't have felt in place. It would have felt forced. But I feel like this was a great way to do it. And I think they did a great justice to her.
Yeah, I wouldn't have minded if it came out after Winter Soldier, though. You know what I mean? Like if it actually came out in continuity, I would have been okay with
that.
Well,
I know what you mean. It's like I wanted having it now. It's like we see it like, oh, I would have loved to have had this before. But where's the fun in that? At least now we get to go back. We saw her die in Endgame, Endgame.
It was Endgame. Yeah.
Endgame, and now we get her back. So it's like, it's nice that way because otherwise we wouldn't have her anymore. She'd be done.
Right.
So that's the bright side. All right. You ready to get to Loki?
Yeah.
All right. Marvel went nuclear, turned the world upside down.
They did.
Loki. We have a multiverse and multiple timelines. Yes. And I talked about this with Joe, and he goes, no, they are one and the same. And I was like, do you think that? As soon as this ended, I was like, you have multiple universes, but then each universe could have its own timeline. And Joe's like, no, it's kind of all the same. But he's coming at it from like a realistic point of view.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think kind of like you're saying, because you have Earth 616, you have Earth 617, Earth 618, whatever they all, Earth 616 is our Earth,
right,
in the Marvel universe, but then you have all the other versions. But yeah, within each one of those
you can also
universes,
have a timeline.
Right, you can have a timeline because the TVA is able to move backwards and forwards through the timeline. So I don't think they're the same thing. I think they are you could have separate things happening all over the place. Yeah. Because like I said, you could have, like, we're in 2021, but Earth 618 could be in 1941 still, and
right.
like, I don't think they all exist. And I'm not like the most multiverse knowledgeable guy, but I don't think they all exist in the same timeline
well,
either.
But here's the thing. It's like everyone has their own timeline, right? So like this is why it's like we were trying to hurry through the podcast because I knew like you and I could do a million tangents on this, which is what the basis of Loki was. Each timeline has a tangent, and every tangent can have a tangent, and then it goes on from there. So like the universe that we know, the MCU, that's still intact. Right. Loki was plucked from that to keep that intact, right? So behind the scenes, Loki gets plucked from that. They set the bomb off. Nobody knows. Everything stays the same. So the MCU that we know, that we own on disc, that's all still real.
Right. Nothing's changed.
This goes on. The TVA is completely separate from that and is monitoring all of that stuff. But each universe has a timeline from beginning to end, the end of time, right? And that was a fun part of this show, going through that and like, what is at the end of the end of time? Like, we know that the universe like everything ends. How does it end? It's crazy to wrap your head around. But now at the end of this, you see like each universe is going to have a timeline with variant, and that's why when that starts to all pan out, you're like, what can we do here? And it's crazy. And then at the end, they even throw you for another loop. Loki doesn't even go back to the original timeline that he was in because nobody knows him. Right. And you're like, oh, it's
right. And then you pan over to Kang on the wall and, yeah, you don't even know where he is now.
But they know who Kang is. Loki has all the knowledge. And then, of course, you have that. This is the only show that actually is scheduled. It tells you right in the end credits, there's a season 2. Right. And obviously, we could have talked about that in spoiler free because it's all over the internet. Everybody knows. But that's the question that I had for you, because when this ended, I was super excited. I'm like, I want to say I stood up and I was clapping. And I was like, this was just incredible. I'm like, it puts it at that time. I was like, this puts it above WandaVision. I'm like, what it did to the MCU is crazy. This is awesome. I get you. I understand. And I'm with you. Like WandaVision was just so good. Right. But then when they actually said Loki returns in season 2, I was like, it went down. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Maybe this has nothing to do with the MCU. This literally could have nothing to do with the MCU, and it's just the TV show, and the MCU keeps on its track, and this is just a completely different thing. And that kind of disappointed me a little bit. Do you see what I mean? Yeah,
but if we didn't know that Jonathan Majors was going to appear in Ant-Man 3, you might say that this is all self-contained within a TV show. But we know that Kang, appears in Ant-Man 3. So now we didn't see Kang yet because actually Kang was not in this show. It was He Who Remains. Kang, the Conqueror, is one of his variants.
Alternates. His variants, right. But for all intents and purposes, that's him. It's just he's a variant of that because he even says, he goes, I'm a conqueror. So we have seen him. It's just he's a variant.
But I don't think, like, the character we meet in this show is a little unhinged, right? Like, he's been by himself at the end of time, just watching. Well, like, he's a little off his rocker, you know what I mean?
Is he unhinged, though? Or is he actually...
that way.
Yeah, but he acts that way because he knows he's right. You know what I mean?
When we see him again, like, I know you didn't watch Orphan Black, but to me, Jonathan Majors got his own Orphan Black. He's going to get to play this character 10 different ways because I think that is the last time we see him act the way he acted in this show.
Well, it's like, what's his name from The Flash? Same thing.
Wells.
Wells. It's the same thing.
When we see him again, he's serious. He has purpose. He's a conqueror. You know what I mean? Like, and I bet you going forward, we see him again a little bit differently, you know, because that's what they've set up here. Like, I think, like, he's, like, what a great role for an actor, right? Because he's going to get to play the same character, like, 50 different ways. Like you said, just like Wells does,
right?
You know, we're probably not going to get, like, Sherlock Kang or anything, but
Sherlock.
But I just think that, like, who we met was not the Kang that we're going to see that might end up being, like, the big bad of the next phase. You know what I mean? This guy, yes, maybe he was a conqueror at some point in his past, but he's moved past that now. Like I said, I think he's, you know, he's seen it, he's thought it, he's, you know, experienced it all so many times that he's not that guy anymore, you know?
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. It opens up a lot of possibilities, but you know, it's obviously important to the MCU because we see him, you know, we know we're going to see him again. So
yeah. Oh yeah. But that's the thing is he could do that, but you could bring back, obviously, like you said earlier, you could bring back Tony Stark.
Right.
And he could be an older version. He could, the other one was Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
Do we find out that Steve Rogers is in the TVA? Is like been pulled because what he pulled by going back in time.
Right. Is he a variant? Right.
Is he a variant now? Or was that expected? There's so many they could change and do, because there were things going on in the background of this show that led to stuff like that. There was one where I saw on the internet, somebody said that could have been like Peggy Carter that got pulled through, or that there's a whole bunch of versions. There's so many different things. I don't know. It's like I said, it's like we could talk forever on it, or we could just, it makes your mind like freeze up. And that's what I think is so great about this show.
Well, and I think, like, Marvel won't drop the ball, you know what I mean? Because, like, you could say this could all be for nothing if they don't do anything really cool
DC.
with it. Right. But, like, Marvel didn't set this up just to let it drop. Like, it almost feels like DC set up Crisis just to let it drop. You know what I mean? Like, I know we're going to get the Flashpoint movie and we don't know for sure, but, like, Marvel didn't go to this length for no reason. Like, they're definitely going to...
Which kind of makes me go back to, like, the answer that question of the end of Black Widow. Did they redo it? That's not Marvel's game plan. Marvel doesn't second guess themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if that was DC...
Well, that would be just that would strictly be a COVID decision because things were forced to change. You know?
Yeah, but do you think...
I'm sure they made some adjustments based on the way things had to come out.
I think this is the way it was supposed to be, and we were supposed to be like, hey, that's pretty cool that she was in the movie and then shows up in the TV show.
Right.
But instead, we kind of got it. I think it kind of ruined her appearance a little bit by showing up in a TV show first.
Right.
Because I really don't think that Marvel all of a sudden was like, oh, we've got to get her into a movie.
Right.
You know, it's... and the way they plot things out.
The only thing with that is, like, in the show, you know who she is. If we had seen Black Widow first, you'd be like, well, who is this chick coming to tell Yelena?
That's the point.
And go do this. You know what I mean?
That's something Marvel would do. We'd be so excited. Be like, who is she? And then it would be all over the internet, and people would be guessing, who is she? Yeah. What is she? What role does she have? You see what I mean? It's like that would have sparked off a lot of conversation. Yeah. So that's why I'm like, that's why I think I think in this case, we kind of got gypped a little bit, where that would have been a lot of fun not having seen, you know, Falcon Winter Soldier yet. So it's possible, but
maybe, yeah, like I said, maybe, I don't know.
And now here's the thing with Loki. when do we get season 2? Because we have the movies coming out. I feel
that's
like
the thing. Does it come out after Doctor Strange or before?
I think it comes out after,
right?
Yeah. I think
Has to be
next
after.
fall would probably be the earliest.
Yeah. And Doctor Strange, I think, is February, right? So
something like that. We have we have a bunch of stuff coming. We have the Eternals
we do. The whole end of this year is packed.
Right.
So
I know.
And that's the thing. So then looking at that, it's like, does Shang-Chi play it all into this multiversal thing? Does the Eternals play into that somehow? But how? Like, Shang-Chi doesn't feel like that kind of movie.
Well, just as
feels
much,
like more of just like a kung fu movie. You know what I mean? So,
but just as much as Guardians of the Galaxy played into the MCU, they don't really play in. They're individual movies that we can either enjoy or not, right?
Right.
And we're gonna like them more than others. But they all have that one little thread that keeps them all going through. And now with Loki, they've actually just made it easier for that little thread to go through.
Right.
You know. Yeah. And what I saw this on the internet as well. What if can be part of all of this?
Well,
because now the what if thing is actually part of the timeline.
Right. What if could all be actual things. It might not even be what if. They could just be telling alternate stories.
And that's animated.
Are,
but if you get Tom Hiddleston voicing Loki in What If, uh-oh.
Now, I don't know if you do.
Changer.
I know you get Thor. Chris Hemsworth voices Thor for sure. But they've recast the voices of Tony Stark and Steve Rogers.
Probably couldn't afford them.
Probably not.
They're not under contract anymore.
They're not under contract.
So we could get Loki.
Hemsworth still is. And Tom Hiddleston might be. So they've, and I think Peggy Carter, Haley Atwell, I believe she voices. So they got some of them back, but they didn't get all of them back. So
I've heard rumors that Chris Hemsworth has no desire to leave. He'd like to keep playing Thor as long as he can. I mean, he's already played him as Fat Thor, so he could grow old as Thor.
I was going to say, I don't know if his body wants him to keep playing Thor.
But it doesn't have to.
Yeah.
You know, he could end up, they could have him age to the point of like his dad, you know.
Well, in the current comics, like you see him as an older.
He's older, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, you know, he's the Allfather in the comics now. So you could just see him as an older, bearded, you know, guy on the throne, and he doesn't have to be super jacked anymore.
No.
So.
No, and what's funny is, and this is kind of a sidetrack, but the way the MCU plans things out, they could actually, if they know like he's under contract for this many movies, all of the scenes that he does where he's jacked, they could film all of those for like 3 movies inside of a week. Right? Because when you're all jacked up, because that's how they do it in the movies. The guy isn't jacked the whole time. If you ever noticed in those movies, they only have their shirt off for a little time, and then the rest of the time they're wearing baggy shirts because you can't stay that ripped. You'll literally pass out.
You can't because you're.
And that's how they do it.
The nutritional aspects of looking like that are not great.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why you and I keep this healthy look.
Exactly.
So we don't pass out doing this podcast.
I look like Fat Thor all the time. So.
But yeah, they could. The way they plan out the MCU, you could actually. All right, Chris, just work out like a fiend, and we'll film all your shots in a week, and then we're good to go. And it's like, oh, all right. But yeah, once you put his voice into What If, that links it. That links it to the rest of the MCU. So there you go.
Well, and Chadwick, it's actually Chadwick Boseman's last performance.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
he voiced it.
He voices T'Challa. Now I know he had that other movie that came out, so this is his last performance in the sense of what we see on screen.
Right.
But I don't know if it's the last thing he filmed. But yes, it is his voice as T'Challa. Oh, wow. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
sad and cool.
It's sad, but the fact that this was in the works that far in advance that he had already recorded it. So,
wow. Which also obviously he was under contract because he was supposed to be doing
Black Panther 2.
And
Yeah, he was just kind of getting started in his journey because he came a little bit later, so he probably had 4 or 5 more appearances at least coming up.
One last thing for Loki. Like I said, we got tangents galore. One last thing. What does this do for the MCU and Sony and Spider-Man? Does this link? This makes it easier to link all of those.
Well, yeah, of course. Now it's whatever you want. Bob's your uncle. It's like you want Carnage and Venom. You got him. Again, it just opened that door that you don't even have to explain it away anymore. You said
Bob's your uncle. I got to go take a drink. That's from another podcast I listened to. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it's like you don't even have to figure out a way to tell the story anymore. You just say it. It's like, here it is. Spider-Man just pops in, and that's that. It's like there's no Spider-Man, anybody. And like we said before, talking about getting Sony and the MCU together, those two universes, all you have to have is one character just show up, and it's like, bang, they're linked. Similar to what they did to Crisis. You get the two flashes. The way you could explain away recasting, say, Tony Stark is by showing Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man.
You're right.
And now you have 3 different Peter Parkers. So anybody will say, oh, well, now you can have 2 different Tony Starks. It's like it just opens all that stuff up. So because there's still the chance that we're going to see all those actors in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
And that sets the stage for
Wolverine.
For recasting Wolverine, for recasting Captain America. It's like it's so easy to do. You can have hot Aunt May, and then you can have old Aunt May too. You know what I mean? So,
Oh yeah, I know. And then, oh man, how about this? And now with What If being animated, and if that gets linked in, now Into the Spider-Verse can be linked into everything. Right. You have, man.
Yep.
Come on, John. It's got to be number 1. It's got to put it ahead of WandaVision because nothing has done this yet.
Well, I told you in terms of the importance of it, it is clearly number 1. Right. I still, just my pure enjoyment level of the shows, I still like,
But that's I think Loki. See, here's the thing: WandaVision's easier to go back through and watch because they're all like 20 to 30 minutes. So it's
but at the end of the day, they're still both 6 hours.
True.
Or 5.5 hours.
But Loki,
or whatever,
I think, to me, is more rewatchable. We'll have to revisit that like around Christmas time and see which one we've gone.
I haven't gone back through either one of them yet. I don't look back, man. I'm always looking forward.
And the good news is, you were getting low there for a little bit.
I'm like a shark, man. I'm always swimming forward.
Always moving forward. Always moving. And I'm always looking behind me. Hey, what did I watch yesterday? I forget.
I very, very rarely watch something I've already watched.
Well, I watched now tomorrow morning or this morning as we're talking right now. This morning, I had nothing to watch. I get up and I watch Loki before I went to work. Yeah. Then I'd come home and watch it again with Joe. And so I was always watching that twice. Now maybe I'll watch Bad Batch episode 12 tomorrow morning.
Well, I say get caught up on Lucifer and the Bad Batch, Well, Lucifer you need to watch with Jen. Yeah. But you can watch the Bad Batch for sure.
Yeah.
Or Lois and Clark.
But we only have a couple of weeks. Yep. We only have a couple of weeks before what is it that starts? What If?
What If, yeah.
And then there's
and we'll have Titans too.
Titans is coming.
Soon,
that's on Fridays with Bad Batch. Actually, that probably picks up right when Bad Batch.
Well, and then
ending.
This coming Friday we get Masters of the Universe.
That's right, on
which
Netflix.
is only 5 episodes to start, but we get 5 episodes of Masters of the Universe, and then for me, because you haven't watched season 1 yet, but Ted Lasso drops on Friday, which I'm really looking forward to because I love that show. Yeah. Now that. Unfortunately, it's 30 minutes, and we're only going to get 1, so I'll be done in 20 minutes.
Yeah,
with that. So it won't be like a long thing, but
right.
But I'll be on the road to watching season 2 of that. So
cool.
Yeah.
All right. Is that it?
I think so.
Nice.
My stomach's telling me it is because
I'm starving.
I need to go eat dinner.
Delicious chicken waiting for me. So
yeah.
Awesome. All right, let's get out of here. We're back to normal. We'll be back next week. No more breaks, no more vacations. Hopefully no more crashes, but we'll be back. I don't care if we even just come back and we just say, hi, we got nothing else to talk about, so goodbye.
Right.
But we'll be back next week. And everybody have a great week. And that's it. That's all I got to say.
That's it. Take care.